bit of gas. I'm gonna try to panhandle up enough to actually finish filling the tank. And hopefully get a bit more on top of that to get something to eat. They got $2 burgers at McDonald's. I think that'd be my goal. If I can't make that much, well, full tank would be a good start. Then there's places I gotta go. It'd be nice to have some money to get food along the road. That way I'm not, well, the less time I spend driving in a vehicle that's no longer legal, the better. I get that it's, I guess, a $140 fine, but that's $140 that I ain't got. The lady who is going to possibly advocate for me, she's going to meet me at my car at 4 o'clock. So until then, I'm going to try to come up with a little bit of money, $10 for gas at least. I know it's going to take at least another 10. It might actually take closer to 15, even with gas prices being as cheap as they are right now. Well, comparatively. With that employee wanting to be a jerk to me about how much gas was in my vehicle. Oh, that's an old piece of shit. I told him that literally when he was walking up to me. I told him it was an old piece of shit and hardly nothing works on it. And of course, he's still working. As long as I avoid him, though, there shouldn't be any issues. I mean, he'll probably talk trash, but that doesn't mean that I have to acknowledge it. And of course, I've got the phone recording for just in case. I'd like to not be wasting the battery, but if I get enough for a full tank of gas, I can charge up the battery and not feel nothing about it too much. If I get something to eat, well, then I don't have to waste the battery like that and waste the gas like that. I can charge it up in McDonald's. Be a good start. And I'll leave the storyteller comment, whatever the hell it was. That didn't need to happen. I wasn't there starting trouble or starting fights or anything of that nature or notion. And I don't understand why people do it. Oh, I do. I just don't see it as productive as it just makes them out to be an asshole, because they are. Am I going to go looking for a fight? Oh, he's already offended. He looked at me and immediately turned around and went into his little building. That just tells me to avoid him. He's going to start trouble and be mean. I don't want that. I just avoid mean people. But it sucks having to be that uncomfortable everywhere you go. Having to be afraid that anywhere that you go, you're going to have to deal with some bully like that. Somebody who thinks just because, well, whatever reason, his life don't suck enough. You gotta make it suck worse by trying to make other people's lives suck. How does that make your life worse? Well, that makes for a lot of bitter people. And then when you end up into a messed up situation, who's gonna help you? It's those people that you look down your nose at when they start doing better than you. What happens when all them family that you depending on for that couch that you're sleeping on? What happens when they all have heart attacks and die? What happens when you think you're going to inherit the house with the mortgage ain't paid off and it's definitely not in your name at any stage? But when it comes to avoiding assholes, they're everywhere. Getting away from them is damn near impossible. When it comes to homeless people, these are the people who are the most victimized in this country. And they're your favorite victims. Your favorite people to take your bad day out on. Your favorite person to take the fact you didn't get a BJ this morning out on. Your favorite person to abuse when your daddy molests you. When your mommy looks the other way. When that police officer shoots somebody you don't know 5 states away, and you don't know who to blame or who to be hateful of, even though you don't know the guy that was shot. You just know the media tells you to hate him. Who else does the media tell you to hate? People like me. People who will actually stand up for their rights and stand up for yours. But who's standing up for mine? A lot of these folks, they got this idea in their head of this utopian world or this impossible world, and we don't live in either. There is a certain way to go about things in a legal fashion in order to get the legal justice system to actually work. And that's why it doesn't work. Most of the folks at the bottom, they're at the bottom because they've had to do it themselves. We are not a family-oriented society, and in order for a capitalistic society to actually function properly, well, it has to be a family-oriented society. That whole price gouging thing is not functional. The whole one person gets to own 20 properties thing is not functional. Anyway, as long as that asshole over there is working at that gas station, I just won't fly over there. I don't want any more problems with these fucking douchebags. Now, sure, I could go the Chris Stegeman route. What would Chris Stegeman do? Well, he'd run his mouth. That's what he'd do. He'd talk about how nothing makes a statement like a severed head. Well, that's true, but what kind of a statement does that make? Is it one that you're trying to make? Is it a positive statement? Imagine if I gave all these people the treatment that they wanted to call upon others. That would be so screwed up. I don't think cutting people's heads off is making the statement I want to make. I don't think cutting people's heads off is going to stop people from looking the other way when the police are beating us down. But the thing is, there are steps that can be taken and followed to protect an individual from such abuse. Like when they come to you about needing to be able to record stuff because people are harming them. Not blowing them off for months at a time and charging them mass quantities of money for it would be a good start to not fucking them, you know? When somebody's injured and the doctor has orders for them, well, that individual needs to be allowed to follow the doctor's orders. You don't get to do that when you're homeless. You don't get to follow the doctor's orders. You don't get to just stay at home and get pampered because you don't have a fucking home. Oh, and then we got these emergency services ass wipes. Let me show you what they do. I don't know how much they charge for each one of those road flares. But those have been there for at least a couple of weeks now. There was a tiny accident here, and it's like every goddamn service showed up. 8 fucking police vehicles. 8 of them. These are the guys who won't show up to your house for an actual fucking crime because they don't have the resources, they don't have the money. And then 8 of them show up for a minor accident. Oh. And then they litter the fuck out of the area and leave the fucking litter laying around. Don't make a whole lot of sense, do it. Anyway, I'm gonna go fly a sign down by the McDonald's. Hopefully I'll do better down there and not feel as uncomfortable. I know the folks at the Subway are not mean to me. Well, so far as I've encountered them already. That doesn't mean there's no hope for the future. Oh my God. That's pretty cool. It's like some sort of a credit card holder or ID badge holder. Crash. Maybe we'll turn it into a treasure. I found money in here once, so whenever I see something square, I always check to see if it's $1. There appears to be a dead fish in there, though. But that's not $1. I didn't actually find money in this one. I found money in the next one down. And I found money in the parking lot over there, the Tillamook, what's it? Camping store. Sporting goods, that's what it is. Sporting goods means something different depending on where you go. Nebraskans tend to think of guns and NASCAR when they think of sports. So when you go to a sporting goods store like Cabela's, you're not exactly finding a bunch of footballs and a bunch of rugby equipment and a bunch of soccer equipment. You're not finding a bunch of stuff for water polo. You're finding fishing and kayaking and that sort of nature. Alright. I have not found any $20 bills on my trip. But the day is young, I guess. Going on a trip, it's pretty important to be prepared. If I had a place to work on my boat, that requires different resources than working on turning in my predators. Different set of resources altogether. I need land to build on. I don't need to construct a building on the land. I just need to be able to basically put up a tent and to be able to make noises during the day. Somebody honking at me. The car looks familiar. never actually seen somebody fly a sign here, so I'm not sure if it's going to do any good, but it's definitely worth a try. I got a curb here that's easy to step off of, and I got a gutter here that'll make a decent seat. Hopefully nobody gets too offended with my sign. There it goes. So it looks like I'm going to become a millionaire. Be able to drive around in one of them drop tops everybody seems to think hobos live in or drive in. It's pretty easy to tell when somebody's going to be a fucking douchebag or do something douchebag-like, pull a douchebag maneuver. Like that guy earlier, he definitely went out of his way to make sure that I didn't get a full tank of gas. He just wanted to make a snide comment and be a dick. So when I went back and he saw me, fucking made a shitty comment. I don't know what it is exactly he said, because I wasn't close enough to hear it. But he was definitely staring at me, and then he turned around and ran into the little building like a bitch. Fuck it. Not my fault. People are rude like that, I don't blame myself for it. Oftentimes I get rude back. Yes, sir.
What?
A hamburger.
It?
Yes, sir. I definitely have room for a hamburger, but if I get anything else on the menu, most of the stuff on it is either really expensive or it's got a bunch of stuff on it I have to take off. This is probably the worst place in town to fly a sign. Not one car is driven by that gentleman offering food. That is nice of him. With safety issues with the meals here, being as at least 3 of the people in this town who are my personal predators go to those things. And then there's the staff there that won't do anything if I'm harmed anyway. Good to have access to food. This morning, Michael gave me a sandwich that he didn't want. But it's not something that I can eat. Without any teeth, all I'm really able to do is pick off a couple of key parts. I'm still glad to have it, you know. I had a tuna fish sandwich. That lady bought herself a foot long, and she gave me half of it. There's a bunch of stuff on it that I wouldn't have put on there. It's all stuff that I like, stuff that I used to put on my tunas back in the day. man. Of course, he knows me. I'm nice to everybody, at least as nice as I can be. I know to avoid people that are not nice. I also know that if I'm stuck in an area with somebody who's not nice, I gotta try to mind my P's and Q's the best I can. As long as there's no safety issues, I'm able to do so. But assuming that there's threat of life and limb, somebody's gotta speak up. Even if that somebody is just me. I was hoping to try to get a tank of gas that ought to hopefully last me most of the week. That way I can run around to different appointments that I'm supposed to go to. Still use the vehicle to charge my phone. That's a good thing about having it liquidated into gas. I'm not going to waste it on food and then end up having nothing to get to appointments on. Plus, it's actually easier for me to charge stuff in my vehicle. I don't have to worry about somebody being offended that I was there too long. I'm not a real big fan of being stuck in the parking lot that I've been stuck in either. It's not that anybody there is particularly mean to me. Matter of fact, most people are actually pretty nice. It's a matter of there's signs all over the place saying I can't stay there for the night. And I keep staying there for the night. Safe. Oh my God, I love food. At least $10 worth of food. Double quarter pounder with cheese, French fries, and soda pop. I love food. pickles, and I choke on the onions because I can't chew them up. On just the regular hamburgers they have, it's the diced ones, and I can actually eat them. But there wasn't a bunch of other stuff on it. Hamburger is easy to eat. Roughage is not. It's tough to eat lettuce with no teeth. It's tough to eat spinach with no teeth. Tough to eat onions with no teeth. Tough to eat pickles with no teeth. Even little teeny tiny ass sliced up jalapenos are tough to eat with no teeth. Down to the fact that it was a little tough for me to eat, being I'm ungrateful. I don't think so, neither does my tummy. My tummy is great. I guess this ain't so bad a spot. The first person to walk by bought me dinner. The first person to drive by gave me some money. Bonjour.
Double steak and cheese.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Toasted. Yeah, there you go. A good one.
Yes. And I still haven't finished my double quarter pounder. All right, it's a good place to sit and eat. Try to wrap up that Subway so it stays warm. Oh, this spot's actually a bit all right. Did I get what I wanted to eat? No, but who cares? It's food. I should probably do some math on this to find out exactly how much I'm going to need to come up with. The place I'm supposed to go are Salem and Gene and Portland. far away from each other, and I'm smack dab in the middle of all three. And my vehicle ain't exactly legal. So I'm hoping this lady who might advocate for me might have some ideas about that. I think maybe 6 or 7 cars total is driven by, which is not a lot. But man, their food is good. Everybody can see me over here from my little drive-through. That might explain why most people are going out the other exit. That, a lot of people, it probably looks like I'm just talking to myself like a crazy person, which, I guess, depending on how you look at it. I'm talking to my phone. Not necessarily another human being on the other end of it. Slightly chilly out. A little chilly by the morning. I got a full belly for now. I got some food for dinner for later. So, turned out to be an alright day. I got a lady meet me at my car at 4 o'clock. From 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. When you got somebody else there with you, especially if that person is a female, it generally does make things actually go smoother. Unless she's dressed up like well, they call themselves street kids, but some of these people are like 50 years old. It's a bit chilly for my life at the moment. I should probably stop drinking soda pop. I would have been fine with a hamburger. No sense being greedy, but if somebody's gonna bring you a 3-course meal, you might as well eat what you can. Save enough, hopefully enough to be able to feed myself when I get to wherever it is they're gonna end up sending me anyway. It just sucks that in the last 6 years it's being sent on from one place to another to another. Nobody does anything about the practice. That guy over there being a dickhead over at the Fred Meyer gas station. I know that's not my fault. Had something wrong with him. Oh, fuck. I should not have stood up like that. That fucking hurt. see if we can get that to focus. Probably not. The 1942 quarter is made out of silver. It's not worth a whole lot. Some of the drove up. That's what it reminded me of. When your back's screwed up, it's damn near impossible trying to come from the position to sit in. Sometimes trying to comfortably rock myself is helpful, but sometimes it ain't. Now that it's getting a little more chilly out. It's my boat for a minute. Probably the old ones. They're like 21 bucks or something. 19 bucks, I think is what it was. Actually, it was 21 last year, which is odd with everything else going up. I guess I'm gonna have to go buy something. Because I gotta pee. I'm going to go all the way over to the Goodwill to do it. I think I can make it. The way I look at it, you got somebody who works somewheres, and they're being a douchebag to you. Don't go to that somewheres where that motherfucker works. Just get the hell away from them. Stay the hell away from them. If you got shopping to do and you see somebody at the grocery store, I'm not above just leaving the whole cart full of food there. I've done that before. Gone to Safeway and seen somebody that there was a safety issue with. I didn't want to be anywhere near them, so I don't leave it in the alley or anything like that. I just take it to the front and I tell the nearest cashier, I'm sorry for leaving this here, but there's a safety issue with another, and then whether it's an employee or a customer. And once you've done that, well, they're usually pretty alright with you leaving it there. They understand it isn't an issue that you have with them in particular, and you didn't grab all that food with the intention of being dickheads to them. I know if I saw Robert Farnsworth in the grocery store, I'd leave immediately. I'd still push my cart to the front though. Unless he started putting his nasty cock beaters on me. That's where we have a major issue. Because I'm not okay with being assaulted. I have one left. Yeah, I have one. That is perfect. Fuck, does everything have to fucking hurt? Oh my god, I might have to put myself on the way there and have to stop at Fred Meyer's. I probably turn around and go over real quick, because most of the people that are working there are cool with me. There's only one guy that's really got an issue. Unfortunately, he's working right now. Everybody else is cool, though. Make sure I don't leave a bunch of garbage. No. So I saw something, might have been money. It wasn't. I don't like being threatened or harassed or intimidated any more than anybody else. I'm just expected to take it more than anybody else. When it comes to your rights being violated, you want to complain. Or if some special rights group is convinced you of bullshit, you should only try to help them. Oh, this is a bunch of stuff against the LGBT. This is a bunch of stuff against black people. This is a bunch of stuff against immigrants. Well, primarily, and nearly always, the poor ones. Poor people are easy to victimize. Poor people are easy to take advantage of. Poor people are less likely to have money for a real lawyer and thus have to rely on a public pretender who nowadays doesn't even have to pretend they're going to defend you. They can just walk over you like everyone else does. I hope that'll go through a tire. I have a flashlight that extends. Fuck. That way I can pick up shit like that, but I keep forgetting to bring it with me. The problem is when you don't have a safe place to go, but people have expectations of you as if you have a place to actually do those things without getting fucked with, without getting harassed, without being threatened. You know, that's your assumption. A lot of y'all don't recognize the protection that you get just from living with your families. Sure, you and your dad argue, but he keeps you safe. Or you and your wife argue, but she keeps you safe just because she's there. That decreases your chances of being taken advantage of. Just because she's there, it decreases your chance to, well, I was going to say it decreases your chances of getting shot or stabbed. But as we've all probably noticed recently, there's a lot of violent women in the world, especially here in the United States, and much of the violence that comes from men also stems from violence from women or head games played by women. We teach women that they're the weaker sex. Well, that ain't true. Each person should be judged individually. Whether or not you're guilty shouldn't be dependent upon your gender because of gender bias. Not every man out there is 6'4", 280 pounds of solid muscle. Not every woman out there is 4'8", 78 pounds. Most of the men I know, even the ones who consider themselves tough guys, would have a tough time taking out Desiree. Obviously, Desiree is a woman's name, and I hate to have to make this distinction, but this is a natural born woman, not one of those, all right, let's get all hopped up and pumped up on steroids and get massive and huge, and then we'll have some surgery so we can call ourselves a woman. When it comes to competitive sports, yes, physiology at the top end does make a lot of difference what gender you are. When we're talking about top end pro athletes. But other than that, no. And much of that with high end pro athletes, that comes down to men being able to stack on more muscle weight a lot faster. It's an XY chromosome thing. For most of us, though, that's just not the case. On average, now we can say on average that men are bigger than women. On average. But when we talk about averages, we're not talking about equality, for certain. When we're talking about averages, we're talking about such a minuscule portion of society. And what are you average in? What are your chances of being average in everything? It's not possible. So, with that in mind, maybe we should stop focusing on just the averages. I mean, the averages can help us narrow it down to possibilities, but if we don't have the right information, we could be steaming up the wrong creek full of shit. When you want to tell the American public that statistically it's a male who's gonna kill your child, then when your child dies at the hospital, you want to blame the doctor. Surprise, surprise, female nurses, female serial killer nurses, in specific, have killed more people than all other serial killers in America combined. And how many do they have to kill before we actually pay attention? 30, 50, 70? One of them ladies could have had over 250 victims, another one over 350. One of those nurses even approaches Elizabeth Bathory. Of course, Elizabeth Bathory was not a nurse. Nope, she was a woman in a position of high authority. Thought that having that high authority gave her permission to kill a bunch of people. Not just children and adults too, but mostly children. When it comes to who's most likely to kill your children, oddly enough, statistically, it's the mother. The mother is more likely than the father to kill their own child. How strange is that? Of course, that's just here in the United States. There's a lot of other countries where it's more likely to be the father. Although in countries like that, suicide is a lot more common. Anyway, I am almost to the bathroom. I didn't see the douchebag in the Kansas City hat, so that's cool. Maybe he's done for the day. I know Scott Scudder works there as well. But he don't actually give me any problems. I was worried about it from the start, that he might. But for the most part, I mean, he sees me and he might make a snide comment or two under his breath while facing me, but I can't hear what he's saying, and I don't care because he's not approaching me in a violent way. He's not threatening to kill me or offspring that I don't have. Go ahead. The mistakes he made are his mistakes. The mistakes that his family members made are individually their mistakes. And my mistakes, of course, belong to me. A lot of people, when they make a mistake, they don't stop to recognize that it could get innocent people killed. And often does. More often than you might think. Not every story of a missing person makes headline news. Matter of fact, many of them don't even make local news. If it's a homeless person, you might not even be allowed to make a police report. Alright, I am almost to the Goodwill. I'm getting a little bit stiff lately, so I'm trying to walk it out. I'm not sure if that's the best thing to do, because then I end up with my legs wanting to lock up. On the bright side, I did make a little bit of money with Trustway. Tasso Custom Homes. Hangers JUS 24UN0. Huh. I don't need that. And I just got another message. I'm assuming it's from the healthcare place. I keep getting these messages from, like, I don't know, 10 different healthcare places getting a hold of me, wanting me to change over my healthcare to their service program or some crap like that. Just non-stop. And wherever I happen to go, because you got that shit on your phone where if you have the locator on, it lets people know where you're at all points in time. So if you don't turn that off, then you'll get a bunch of stuff from Tillamook Dental when you're in Tillamook, even if you got no teeth. You get a bunch of stuff from Hood River Dental, even if you ain't got no teeth. If you're in the Dalles, you'll get a bunch of stuff from the Dalles, even if you ain't got no teeth. But then apparently they don't get the memo when you move to somewhere else, so then you end up with Hood River still contacting you, and the Dalles still contacting you while you're in Hood River, and Hood River people are contacting you. Right now, I'm basically rambling just to keep my mind off the fact that I'm going to piss myself. Oh my God. I hope I make it to the bathroom. Oh. A guy that just drove past had a gap between his teeth. He was not wearing a Kansas City hat though. Maybe it was him, maybe it wasn't. The guy over there at the Fred Meyer's had glasses on, so I couldn't exactly tell all the details.